Before we begin the finale for Season 2, we must look back on those less fortunate with the Tour de Endurance B-League for Season 2. Some teams here, of course, rather upset to not qualify, but there are some large, you could argue, some larger stakes here than there are for the finale of the main league.
Yes, of course, Angus. The bottom four of the B-League will not advance to the Season 3 qualifiers, so a lot on the line here in this 4-event throwdown for advancement.
As you see, there's the same expedition run we saw of the first event, Balancing. The 4 events on the docket are Balancing, I believe it's Downhill Drag, Boardwalk Blast, and Funnel Elimination Race, with Lagoon Platoon starting us off in the balance.
All of them just plummet on the far side. That is not a good run. None of them getting past, I think, even the middle part of the beam.
And a 123 compared to the winning score of 475 by the Grayscales in the main league. That is, well, a lot to live up to for the Crystal Pistols. Not much to live up to for the Crystal Pistols, and they, well, didn't live up to it really as much.
Well, they splayed to either side, but you could tell that was pretty much better than the Lagoon Platoon, though probably not good enough for the gold medal here in the B-League.
I don't think it'll be good enough for a medal in general, as the Condiment King has come down next. Can they just improve? They get 2. They go further than usual compared to the first 2 runs, so they should get into first, and they do. 209, they crack 200 points, but still, not the kind of runs I'm expecting to see here with the stakes that are happening.
Now, Navy SEALs, a team upset that was really good in Season 1, and they get one finisher to show for it. Navy SEALs should get the lead here, hoping to easily advance to the Season 3 qualifiers.
And they do, 238. That is not a bad score compared to what we've seen so far. 125 is going to help them as the Neptune Nomads go next, a team that desperately wants to show what they've got.
Yeah, the Neptune Nomads, we really haven't seen too many good performances, but all of them staying on, and they will get a finish here, and that is surely going to get the lead.
339, a full 100 points, and even more than that, ahead of the Navy SEALs, Neptune Nomads. That is the kind of stuff we need to see with the stakes on that are high here. Popsicles next. I don't know if they're going to be able to topple that one.
Large gap between first and second right now. Popsicles have all of them staying down for a fair bit of time, and they will get one finisher. I think this might contend for second place, and it does.
284, again, not bad. We're seeing some higher runs here now that we're starting to warm up as Team Mayhem go next. Another team that wants to show what they're doing. A lot of teams here with missed potential.
And Team Mayhem, well, a bit of a gap from the first and second marble, but it doesn't matter. 3 of them fall to the far side, but they will get a finisher, and as a result, their consistency puts them to first place.
A 345, very close to the Neptune Nomads, but good enough for the lead for Team Mayhem as the Cosmonauts come down next, looking to do as well as they can, and, well, it wasn't bad, still won to the end. It's better than what we've seen from some of these runs.
Cosmonauts, one of those other teams that also didn't qualify. After qualifying last season, they will get 4th place here.
Ah yes, of course, the J Jockeys, the team of Tour de Endurance before they failed to qualify in an upset in the qualifiers. What can they do in the balancing here? It is, well, quite frankly, embarrassing.
Oh, that is going to contend for last place. And it is 8th out of 9. Yeah, they'll get like a point out of this, but that's all they have to show for it.
Now the Honeycombs, this is a big one. They merged with the recently retired Stingers. They got a team little thing to figure out here, but it worked pretty well despite the differences with the teams. They're still going to get one to the bottom between these two, and it's good enough for 3rd place.
You know, a lot of questions surrounding this team around how well they'll do in the team events, but it's gone off to a good start here for a team that was just off the podium last time.
Now the Cheese Balls. It's not bad out of the gate, but it just starts to fizzle out as the speed picks up down the beam, which is entirely downhill, as it just gets faster and faster, which throws the marbles off, and they all get sent off for only a 7th place result. That's at most going to be only 4 points for the Cheese Balls.
Now the Crazy Chickens, one of the most anticipated teams coming into this one. How will they do?
It's not very good. It's not very good at all. In fact, that's going to compete for a bottom result. 9th place. Not as bad as I expected, but there have been some rather paltry runs in this one, so 9th place isn't much to be smiling about. But Team Mayhem, Neptune Nomads, and the Honeycombs will take the first podium of the B-League.
Now, of course, with the first podium, there's still some work they have to do to ensure qualification, but these teams certainly have had a good start to the B-League.
I imagine they're feeling pretty good as we move on to the next event, the Downhill Drag. As you can see, this was another event that the Grayscales won in this season, but of course Condiment Kings there, they have Mayo going in this event, the winner of Season 1's Downhill Drag, so you know who to look out for in this one.
As you look at the Crazy Chickens, Navy Seals, Cosmonauts, and the Crystal Pistols, and it is the Crazy Chickens trying to make amends for their poor first event, and they will cross the line easily in first.
Now, Crazy Chickens with that will move on to the final, but whoever has the best time of those that do not advance have the opportunity to join them as a wild card. Who got second place there? That is, well, quite frankly, a three-way race, but it is the Crystal Pistols with pretty much a comeback there from last place to get into second place for a spot at the wild card as moving to heat number 2 with Mayo at lane 1.
How will they do? Oh, they get a bump with the Popsicles, but as a result, I think the Condiment Kings, actually, they were in second, but they will still get first, as the Popsicles, they're going too much to the right. And you can just see here that the ground Condiment Kings are gaining, and that is a marble you can clearly tell has experience in this event.
Oh, 2 photo finishes in this one between Condiment Kings and the Popsicles. Let's have a look how this goes, and the Condiment Kings by 5 thousandths of a second get their way through to the final, but 2 thousandths between Jade Jockeys and the Honeycombs, 2 teams we expected better from, not doing too good here either.
Now in the final heat, Cheese Balls, Neptune Nomads, and it is the Nomads with a better launch, and they should get the win with the Cheese Balls in second. Mayhem and Lagoon Platoon has nothing to show for it.
Now, Mayhem did win the first event. Neptune Nomads, of course, with the silver in this one, trying to confirm as best they can advancement to Season 3 qualifiers with the Cheese Balls. With second place, we'll have to see if that's good enough for a spot in the wildcard, but according to those colour coordinations, I don't think it is. I think that means that the Popsicles are our wildcard in the finale, and yes, they are.
So the Popsicles that just missed out on the win in their heat, they get a chance to get a medal here. Popsicles, Crazy Chickens, Condiment Kings, and Neptune Nomads. Who takes the downhill drag?
And it will be, I think, across the line. It was a very close battle between, again, the Condiment Kings and the Popsicles. A bump from the Chickens pushes the Kings forward, but the Popsicles keeping it straight this time rather than swerving, with the Condiment Kings just push themselves ever so slightly ahead, and they will beat the Popsicles for another gold in the downhill drag for Mayo. Icy and Polulo will round out the top 3.
Just 4 thousandths of a second separating Mayo and Icy, but great use of the wildcard spot for Popsicles to get second place, a well-needed second place for them too.
Neptune Nomads there in 4th place. That's 20 points for them and 20 points for the Popsicles, who are now tied for first. Meanwhile, Jade Jockeys in the bottom 4. They need to start improving badly because, of course, we all know who the Jade Jockeys are. They are the Torta Endurance's team back in the day. They need to start picking up the pace in the Boardwalk Blast here.
Now the Boardwalk Blast, remember, it's about how far each of the 4 members go. So you have to have the consistency, as we see the Crazy Chickens, I think, doing slightly better than the Neptune Nomads. Oh, both of them have won far back. I think the Chickens are this one.
They also have quite a few that are pretty far ahead, however. But I think the Chickens will do better, but there is no finals, quarterfinals, or semifinals in this one. It is just about your score. And 98, the Chickens provisionally take first place, with Neptune Nomads at 96 in second, but not bad scores on the board here, with Jade Jockeys and Lagoon Platoon going to try and beat that.
So of course, not too bad for the Neptune Nomads because there's no advancement here, as we see Lagoon Platoon will get the furthest marble, but the Jade Jockeys, I think, have much better consistency across their 4 marbles.
In fact, all of the Jade Jockeys are ahead of the 25 score point, meaning they will get over 100 points and confirm take the lead in this event. After just 2 heats, though, they might not hold it, but a 105 score compared to what we saw in the main league, that seems very good.
The Jade Jockeys, they sorely needed that, as we see the Honeycombs and the Cosmonauts, 2 teams that were in the main league last year. Some bumps for the Honeycombs, not great, but similarly, not great at all for the Cosmonauts. 3 of them back Honeycombs are.
Now, that was a much worse performance compared to the previous 2 heats. The Cosmonauts, they all just sort of slowed down on the bumps. The Honeycombs have won really far up there at 27, but that's only going to get them to 93 and 91, 5th and 6th for now. That's not going to get them anywhere in this event. It's Crystal Pistols and Navy Seals feeling pretty good to follow that up.
Navy Seals, they also need to get a move on down in the relegation zone. Crystal Pistols have won go well to the near side, but they'll comfortably be beaten by the Navy Seals here.
In fact, Crystal Pistols have, look at that, he's completely gone, all the way back toward 20. There's one even further back. Crystal Pistols had a terrible run here. Navy Seals did pretty alright. They're up a couple up there at 25 as we do a scan of the map. Fourth place and 80 points. That is just another level of poultry by the Crystal Pistols.
Now, Condiment Kings and Team Mayhem, a lot of the teams that really do need good results, trying to resurface here. Mayhem, they're alright with the gold in the first event. I don't know if they'll beat the Condiment Kings here.
It doesn't matter about beating, it's about where you are in the standings. You don't really need to worry about whoever you're facing, it's about how far you get up in those standings. But Team Mayhem are not looking too bad here. Both these teams, of course, the winners of the first two events, so a 6th and 7th actually might not be too bad for them. It will keep them in the game and keep them out of that relegation zone, as Popsicles and Cheese Balls are the final two runners in this event.
Of course, Popsicles fresh off their second place in the downhill drag. They have 2 up there, but the Cheese Balls trying to make a late lunge. And I think the Cheese Balls will take this one. And how does it compare to the rest of the runs?
That is the important part after all, and as you can see, Popsicles have one very far back there. Below 20 is not a good sign of just having an overall good score. You've got to have all of them be good, and a 7th and an 11th for these two, 94 and 90. But this does mean that the Jade Jockeys have won Boardwalk Blast Gold with Crazy Chickens for a second medal, and Lagoon Platoon, who sorely needed it, rounding out the podium.
Of course, as we want to take a look at the standings going to the final event to see who's trying to avoid relegation and who may we have anyone confirmed qualification. I'm not so sure about that, as we head to the funnel elimination race, the final chance for some of these teams, especially the bottom teams like Crystal Pistols, to make a comeback.
Crystal Pistols, Cosmonauts, Lagoon Platoon, and I believe the Cheese Balls are in those bottom 4 spots heading into this final event. Cheese Balls are at the very front. I imagine that is rather imposing of this large track, as it is just, if you finish last, you are gone. No reward for winning. We're just going to get straight into it, as in the first round, with Popsicles and Condiment Kings off to the worst start here, with many others piling on through.
Of course, if you get an early elimination here, you might get a shock relegation spot. Everyone trying to avoid that bottom spot, as it is occupied by, I think that's the Lagoon Platoon down in the bottom funnel.
But Team Mayhem join them, Condiment Kings join them. It's an absolute battle down there, and the Condiment Kings plummet on through. They're not in too much danger of elimination, but getting last place, depending on where the other teams finish, could put them in a bit of strife.
And now all they can do is watch the other teams and hope for the best that they won't get relegated. That will be the case for every team that gets eliminated from this event. Rather daunting, but that is what it is in Tour de Endurance. Cheese Balls, Neptune Nomads down now in the bottom funnel.
Alright, Jade Jockeys down there, they're going to stay up, I'm pretty sure. But Neptune Nomads having a terrible time. The Crystal Pistols having an even worse time. They're having a real bad time down there, but there's a whole flock of marbles a couple funnels up. If they have some bad funnels, it's not over for either of them. Lagoon Platoon have joined them now down there.
Now, this is the big battle for last place. Lagoon Platoon, I think they're joined by, was that the Jade Jockeys?
That was not the Jade Jockeys. No, Jade Jockeys are still spinning. That was the Honeycombs, I think, with Flutter, one of the Stingers members, has lost it out for the Honeycombs in 11th place. That is not good for a team who we expected so much more from as a 4th place finisher in Season 1.
Now, the Jade Jockeys, they will lead the rest of the pack in the 3rd round in this funnel elimination race. We're joined by the Cheese Balls in the bottom funnel right now, as the rest of them all pile in just the other 2 funnels.
I've seen the Cheese Balls down there a couple times. Some teams I've not seen down there. Team Mayhem and Popsicles have been doing pretty good so far. Navy Seals aren't doing too bad, but now they're joining the Cheese Balls, as I say that, with Crazy Chickens and Cosmonauts. But Cheese Balls and the Cosmonauts are in the most trouble at the moment, with Cheese Balls into that final funnel.
Cheese Balls, they're in the relegation zone. They absolutely want to avoid this. Will they be able to? I think it's too much for them, and the Cheese Balls will be eliminated.
Not just from this event, but they are with only 10th place. They're not going to just be eliminated from this, they're eliminated from the Season 3 qualifiers altogether. Cheese Balls, I think it's safe to say, are gone. That
leaves 11 more spots, though, for the rest of the teams try to get in, as we are in the 4th round in the funnel elimination race. No one dropped in the 3rd funnel just yet.
You see, it's a much closer battle this time. In the last few runs, we've seen a couple competitors falling through for a double battle, but this time it's the Chickens who are not having a great run. But I think that's just another huge pack above. But the Chickens are not able to get any contact, which is not helping them at all. Lagoon Platoon come on down, but this is going to be a close one here. I don't know who's going to fall on. This is going to be very hard. I do not know at all.
Lagoon Platoon, I think, looking to drop in the funnel. Who's going to go in the final funnel first? It was close between the Neptune Nomads and the Navy Seals are also there with the Crazy Chickens, but the Navy Seals are going to be eliminated.
Navy
That is a bit of a
Seals.
surprise.
That is definitely a surprise. Navy Seals were doing alright in those first few rounds, only to completely stuff up that one. Chickens, the Neptune Nomads, one of those two I thought for sure were gone, but the Navy Seals just had terrible final few funnels. You got to be good all the way through. Or I reckon you should hold out in the early ones and then start pulling it through in the later ones to keep yourself up. But the Lagoon Platoon here trying to stay away. They've been down there a couple times now, with Popsicles being the first one into this second half of the track.
Popsicles, they were one of the OG teams previously, so they should do well in the funnels. But now it's the Crazy Chickens down in, I think, almost a penultimate funnel, that is.
Team Mayhem, Popsicles, many others are piling up. If you're not on screen, you're doing pretty good, but the Chickens are a full funnel below of the rest. Unless if someone can come down there and join them. Popsicles do, but I think it's too little, too late, and it is. The Chickens, they have 2 medals though, so I think with that, they should be fine to advance to Season 3. I think they'll take that in their stride.
Yeah, they did place ahead of 4 marbles in this particular event, so I think the Crazy Chickens should be okay, but you never know with how the rest of this event shakes out.
That is a very good sentiment, Ramen. You do never know with how this turns out as we go to the next group. I have not seen Team Mayhem toward the bottom in any of these races. They're doing very well, but there's pretty much all marbles in one funnel there. This one's going to go to anyone. Popsicles come on through next, followed by Team Mayhem.
Mayhem trying to stay up there, but maybe they expended a bit of their energy in the previous heats. Of course, this event is so much an endurance one. This is so much of an endurance event. You want to conserve your energy, as Mayhem is now the second to last runner.
Now Popsicles are into that final funnel. Crystal Pistols, I think the Lagoon Platoon are pretty safe up there, but the Popsicles, again, no one joined them. It was far too late for anyone to join them, and they will come 7th place here. I don't know. Would they be safe?
It's tough to tell, but Popsicles, they were another one of those marbles that they dropped in the final funnel before anyone even... They were looking to drop before anyone even dropped in the final funnel with them, and when that happens, you kind of know your fate is sealed. As we go to the next heat in this funnel elimination race, reaching the halfway point.
Now this is where things start to get a little bit more dicey. We are well beyond the halfway point now, as once we're down to 3, it's all about the medals. We can see Team Mayhem now. As in the previous heat, their energy is really starting to fall apart. Look at their angles in these funnels. They are starting to tumble on down. The Cosmonauts are joining them. It's not just Team Mayhem who's having a bad time here. It's them and Cosmonauts, Crystal Pistols in a 3-way battle. Now who's going to go out?
The Crystal Pistols in third to last right now. They are a team to watch because they are well down in the order in terms of the standings, but they saved themselves from elimination, and it is Team Mayhem.
Team Mayhem though, 6th place. They do beat 6 other marbles, and with a gold in the first event, I think they should be alright, but they're going to be cutting it rather close with just 5 left. Neptune Nomads, Cosmonauts, Jade Jockeys, Crystal Pistols, and Lagoon Platoon. 2 of those teams are, no, sorry, 3 of them I think are in that relegation zone. So they need to really pull it through. Cosmonauts, Lagoon Platoon, and Crystal Pistols are in a lot of trouble. They got to do as well as they can.
Of course, there has to be 4 teams that eventually are in the bottom 4. So it's not safe to say that all of these teams are safe. You have to see how it shakes out. Cosmonauts now dropping into the next funnel, followed by a slew of marbles as the Neptune Nomads and the Crystal Pistols are in the top.
Oh, now it's a big spread. I was just about to say they're all within 2 funnels of each other, but now it's all gone wide open. The Cosmonauts plummet past the Lagoon Platoon. They're staying in there for far too long. Lagoon Platoon do not give them a bump, and the Cosmonauts, oh dear. They will only take 5th place. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. With Crystal Pistols and Lagoon Platoon both still in the game, Cosmonauts might be in a bit of trouble here.
Remember, it's all how the other marbles shake out. There's still 4 placements to determine. One of these will not make the podium. Neptune Nomads, Jade Jockeys, Crystal Pistols, and
Lagoon Platoon. Now, of course, Jade Jockeys. In the round still, they're doing alright. In the round still, as the funnel team, they should be doing alright. They've currently got a commanding lead trying to get their way into the final. If you win this race, just do not get last here. This is a miss. This is a chance for the medals. Crystal Pistols and Lagoon Platoon need it badly. But currently, they're in the bottom 2 spots.
Yeah, and the Neptune Nomads, they didn't drop before the other 2 did. So I think it's going to be a battle between the Lagoon Platoon and the Crystal Pistols. I think the Crystal Pistols looking like they're going to drop first, but actually, it's a battle
Neptune
between
Nomads
3
show
marbles
up.
now.
Neptune Nomads have popped on through. Jade Jockeys are 3 funnels ahead almost. Lagoon Platoon, they might stay up with Crystal Pistols, and they will. Those 2 will both move on to the final. Neptune Nomads, some chivalry there, giving these 2 a shot at transfer, because I think Neptune Nomads are pretty good. A silver and then some top half results. I think they'll be fine, Ramen.
And now we have the last funnel round. for the medals between the Jade Jockeys Lagoon Platoon and the Crystal Pistols. How miraculous is it for both the Lagoon Platoon and the Crystal Pistols to be here with the Jade Jockeys?
They've both made it this far with the funnel team. I wonder how they'll shake up, but currently Jade Jockeys appear to be going a bit of for a late race charge approach, with the Lagoon Platoon taking the lead for now, with Crystal Pistols fighting them in second place. I don't know, this is going to be a very close one. They've all got very good lines in these funnels.
Now all of them in the funnel at the same time. Crystal Pistols drop on through, followed by the Lagoon Platoon. Could we be seeing the Jade Jockey strategy coming to full effect? But it's not quite worked for them, as the Lagoon Platoon now take the lead.
With just 2 funnels to go, Jade Jockeys are in last place. Crystal Pistols and Lagoon Platoon. This gold for each of them could be incredibly important to moving on. Jade Jockeys, it's 3 of them in the penultimate funnel. Into the final funnel they come.
It's anyone's game right now. Crystal Pistols holding out top. Jade Jockeys fall on through for the bronze, followed by the Crystal Pistols. That means the Lagoon Platoon will win the funnel elimination race.
And by winning that, Lagoon Platoon should surely put themselves into the Season 3 qualifiers, but Crystal Pistols are going to be incredibly close. Jade Jockeys in third, with the gold as well, they should be fine. But now, everyone waiting in immense anticipation for the final standings of the B-League.
Lagoon Platoon looks like they've done enough. Same can be said for the Crystal Pistols and the Jade Jockeys, but it's not over until we see the final standings. Who advances to the Season 3 qualifiers? We'll have to see.
I imagine Condiment Kings, who've been watching this event from the start, are absolutely terrified right now. Here come the standings, and it will be the Honeycombs, Cheese Balls, Crystal Pistols, and the Cosmonauts. And they're all by 1 or 2 points. Look at those point distributions to the Navy SEALs. That is about as close as you can get.
The final standings, every placement counted up until the end there, and it wasn't enough for the Crystal Pistols. Unfortunate for them to be knocked out.
But look at these 3 teams, the Crazy Chickens, the Jade Jockeys, miraculous comeback, and the Neptune Nomads, underdogs. These 3 are the top 3 of the B-League.